tonight. My name is Ugochukwu Mandemere. In the headlines, Kano Senator sparks outrage with revelation of 21 million naira monthly salary. ICPC exposes thousands of suspicious workers on government payroll. Federal government faces huge revenue loss from food import tax suspension. Rwandan government shuts down thousands of churches in crackdown. Rangers Football Club gears up for crucial CAF Champions League match. Details of these and more will come to you in the bulletin right after now. The news in detail. President Bola Tinubu has arrived in Malabo, Equatorial Guinea, for a 3-day official visit. He was received by Prime Minister Manuela Rocabote at the Malabo International Airport, where he received a brief welcome ceremony before heading to the presidential palace. During his visit, President Tinubu will hold a private meeting with his counterpart, President Teodoro Obiang Nguema Mbasogo, followed by the signing of bilateral agreements focusing on oil and gas, security, and other areas. He will also sign a historic visitor's book and make a press statement. Accompanying President Tinubu on this visit are several ministers, including Foreign Affairs Minister Yusuf Tugar, Defense Minister Abubakar Badaru, and others. The business community, particularly from the oil and gas sector, is also represented. The visit aims to strengthen bilateral relations between Nigeria and Equatorial Guinea. The Speaker of the House of Representatives, Tajuddin Abbas, has withdrawn the controversial bill that sought to criminalize refusal to sing Nigeria's reintroduced national anthem. The bill, which prescribed a 10-year jail term for offenders, sparked heated opposition and outrage from many Nigerians who saw it as a misplacement of priority. The bill was introduced in July to enforce the recitation of the reintroduced anthem, Nigeria We Hail Thee, which was signed into law by President Bola Tinubu in May. However, many Nigerians rejected the new anthem and vowed to retain the old one, Arise O Compatriots. In a statement, Abbas's spokesman, Musa Kurishi, said the Speaker withdrew the bill after careful consideration of the nation's current circumstances. The decision reflects Abbas's commitment to ensuring the House remains truly the people's house and his acknowledgement of the significance of the concerns raised. Meanwhile, controversy surrounds the revelation by Kano South Senator Sumaila Kawu that he earns over 21 million naira monthly as a total take-home package. This contradicts the Revenue Mobilization Allocation and Fiscal Commission's statement that each senator receives 1.6 million naira in salary and allowances per month. The RMAFC chairman, Mohammed Shehu, clarified the senators' earnings, breaking down their monthly package to include basic salary, allowances, and constituency allowance. However, Senator Kawu's disclosure of his 21 million naira monthly package has sparked fresh controversy over the actual earnings of federal lawmakers. The issue has been a subject of debate since last week, with former President Olusegun Obasanjo criticizing federal lawmakers for fixing their own salaries and emoluments. The Senate has refuted Obasanjo's claims, stating they are lies. The controversy highlights the discrepancy between the official figures and the actual earnings of lawmakers, sparking public outcry and calls for transparency. As the gubernatorial elections in Edo and Ondo states approach, the chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, Professor Mahmood Yakubu, has called on security agencies to intensify their efforts to ensure peaceful and credible polls. Our correspondent Irene Okichukwu reports from Abuja.
Professor Mahmood Yakubu, chairman of INEC, addressed the Interagency Consultative Committee on Election Security at the INEC headquarters in Abuja, stressing the vital role of security personnel in ensuring peaceful, transparent, and credible elections.
Electioneering campaigns by political parties are ongoing. This is usually a time of concern and anxiety about security as political parties canvass for votes. A peaceful campaign often heralds a peaceful election. I urge political parties, candidates, and their supporters to maintain the peace as we approach the election day and beyond. You should leave no stone unturned in dealing with any real or potential threat to the conduct of peaceful and transparent elections.
The National Security Advisor Nuhu Ribadu, represented by Hassan Abdullahi, Director of Internal Security, echoed this call for vigilance. He warned that any attempt to disrupt the election will be met with the full force of the law, underscoring the administration's commitment to peaceful polls.
We want to reassure you that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration is committed to peaceful conduct of the election and is particularly unwavering in his commitment. Those planning to disrupt the election should not mistake the current administration's commitment to peace for weakness. We will defend the integrity of the polls using every lawful means at our disposal. And anyone attempting to disrupt the conduct of the elections will face the full wrath of the law. Law enforcement agencies are on high alert and ready to swiftly and decisively deal with anyone trying to undermine the polls.
We take cognizance of the challenges that usually come with elections, and all resources are being deployed. At the moment, we have compiled and set aside officers from the police and other security agencies that will partake in the election. And to that extent, I just want to assure that we will do what we need to do. The issue of non-state actors especially,
Professor Yakubu also updated the committee on outstanding bylaw elections in various states, where security preparations are already underway. He emphasized the importance of security personnel adhering to the code of conduct during electoral duties and thanked the ICCES members for their continued support. The gubernatorial election in Edo and Ondo State are scheduled for September 21st and November 16th, 2024, respectively. With security measures in place, voters are encouraged to participate confidently in the electoral process. From Abuja, Irene Okechukwu, Rapid TV News.
The National Judicial Council, NJC, is set to meet on Friday, August 16, to decide on the successor of outgoing Chief Justice of Nigeria, CJN Justice Olukayode Ariola. Ariola is expected to retire on August 22nd when he reaches the mandatory retirement of 70. The NJC will select and recommend a successor to President Bola Tinubu for appointment. No names have been sent to the president yet, as the NJC has not made a decision. According to tradition, the most senior justice on the Supreme Court bench is likely to succeed Ariola. Therefore, Justice Kudirat Kekere Ekun, who is currently the most senior justice, is expected to be the next CJN. The Supreme Court has a full complement of 21 justices, and the NJC's decision will determine who leads the Apex Court next. The Nigeria Education Loan Fund, NEL Fund, has cleared 22 additional state-owned tertiary institutions to apply for student loans. This brings the total number of approved institutions to 108, allowing more students to access loans for their education. The student loan scheme is a flagship project of President Bola Tinubu's administration aimed at supporting indigent or low-income Nigerians in paying their fees in Nigerian tertiary institutions. The loan fund was established through the Access to Higher Education Act signed by the President earlier this year. The newly cleared institutions include Abia State University, Delta State University and Rivers State University, among others. Students from these institutions can now apply for loans on the NEL Fund portal. This development is expected to increase access to higher education and support the educational pursuits of Nigerian students. The Revolutionizing Education Conference is underway, focusing on innovative pedagogies and leadership for 21st century students. The 2024 ELPN International Conference is taking place in Abuja. The two-day conference brings together innovative educators and researchers to share their insights, research, and ideas on revolutionizing education for the 21st century. Our correspondent, Ishaku Yohana, has details.
The Institute of Educational Leadership Practitioners of Nigeria, IELPN, is an organization that aims to promote excellence in educational leadership and management in Nigeria. It is a professional body that brings together educators, administrators, and leaders in the education sector to share knowledge, best practices, and innovative ideas to improve educational outcomes in Nigeria. Professor Sunday Osad, president of the Institute, delivered the 2024 conference welcomes address, setting the tone for the event.
That is to tell the gathering today that we have a very powerful team, editorial team, ready to look at educational reports, and they will take care of publications of the Institute. The board already packaged together. I know it should be one of the activities we are going to hold, that is inaugurating Teachers' Body. And they are creating hope that we are going to achieve greater things in the near future.
Keynote speaker, Professor Paulinus Chujioke Okwele, Executive Secretary of the National Commission for Colleges of Education, emphasized the need to revamp the curriculum to align with modern technology. He stressed that this is crucial for engaging and empowering students in the digital age.
And the great agent of change is education. We are in a world that is rapidly changing. And what drives this change is education. We talk about the 21st century where we find ourselves. So the change is very rapid. Or the frequency we are experiencing it today is so high that the education of the country, of any country that wants to be, that does not want to be left behind, has also need to catch up with the trend of things.
Dr. Nte Bisong, Deputy Director of Academic Planning at the National Universities Commission, represented the Acting Executive Secretary, Chris Meyaki. Dr. Bisong highlighted the importance of leveraging technology to advance teaching and learning outcomes.
Rapidly evolving, it is imperative that as practitioners embrace innovative approaches to leadership in the sector, the 21st century demands that we equip our students with not only knowledge but also the required skills and competencies to thrive in an increasingly dynamic and interconnected world. By fostering an environment of shared best practices and mutually beneficial support, we can ensure that our educational systems are robust, inclusive, and capable of meeting the diverse needs of our dear students.
Dr. Olufimilayo Olusa, Registrar and CEO of the Institute, noted that the conference theme couldn't be more timely. She emphasized the need for educators to adapt to the changing landscape and harness innovative approaches to education.
As the Institute of Educational Leadership Practitioners of Nigeria, our mandate is clear. We are dedicated to fostering educational excellence and leadership through continuous professional development, research, and advocacy. Our core activities include training and development, promoting impactful research, fostering a culture of mentoring, and emphasizing the integration of technology in education.
The Revolutionizing Education Conference continues to explore new frontiers in educational leadership and pedagogy. We'll keep you updated on the outcomes and recommendations from this important event. From Abuja, Ishaku Yohana reports for Rapid Television.
Nigeria's Minister of Health and Social Welfare, Professor Ali Pate, has revealed that 75% of health workers trained in Nigeria in 2023 have left the country to work elsewhere. This brain drain is a significant concern, with the minister noting that 67% of Nigerian medical doctors are now practicing in the United Kingdom. The minister emphasized the impact of this migration, stating that if Nigerian health workers were to leave the UK's National Health Service, NHS, the service would struggle to cope. He suggested that countries recruiting Nigerian professionals should consider supporting the expansion of training programs in Nigeria to address the strain of health worker migration. Professor Pate acknowledged that there is freedom of movement and the government cannot stop people from leaving the country. However, he advocated for health diplomacy and ethical replacement to address the issue, suggesting that countries like the UK could help Nigeria train more health workers to replace those who have left. The Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, ICPC, has uncovered a massive payroll fraud in the federal government's payroll system. The commission discovered 22,074 suspicious personnel on the payroll, resulting in a loss of 37.1 billion naira to the government last year. The ICPC found that 12,714 personnel were on the payroll but not in the service-wide nominal role, with a monetary value of 34.8 billion naira. Additionally, 4,190 ex-policemen were found on the payroll, receiving salaries despite no longer being in service. The commission also discovered cases of double salaries, fictitious names, and ghost workers in various ministries, departments, and agencies. The ICP's findings highlight the need for a thorough overhaul of the payroll system to prevent further fraud. The commission's report is part of the anti-corruption efforts of the current administration. The discovery of these suspicious personnel and payments underscores the importance of transparency and accountability in government finances. Further investigation and action are expected to follow to address these findings. As Nigeria grapples with economic hardship, insecurity, and social challenges, the Christian Association of Nigeria, CAN Global, is calling on the government to invest in the country's abundant resources for improved development. Again, our correspondent Irene Okechukwu tells us more.
Ahead of the Christ for Nations crusade in Abuja, religious leaders are urging Nigerians to seek salvation and pray for the nation's transformation. Reverend John Darku, African Executive Director of Christ for All Nations, emphasized the need for a collective prayer and action to address poverty, hunger, and insecurity in Nigeria. The upcoming crusade, scheduled for November 6 to 10, aims to spread God's message and promote social and cultural transformation.
We will set our sights in Abuja, Nigeria, for a grand crusade unlike any other. Salvation, healing, deliverance crusade that will take place from November 6th to 10th of November 2024.
Reverend Dr. Williams Okoye of the All Christian Fellowship stressed that Nigerian stagnation since independence is due to a distorted sense of value, calling for a return to internal values. He emphasized the need for Nigerians to come together and seek divine intervention for the country's development.
Any nation that has developed, has been developed based on their values. So one of the things that we stand to benefit as a nation through this crusade is that we are going to reorient our people, to let them know that things of eternal value must have preeminence in our lives. The values of our people, the mindset of our people are transformed, and they begin to see that we are here to serve God and serve humanity. Nigeria will be transformed, will be changed. Nigeria will move forward. That's one of the major things we stand to benefit from the crusade.
As Nigeria faces numerous challenges, the call for prayers and collective action resonates all across the country. From Abuja, Irene Okechukwu, Rapid TV News.
The World Health Organization, WHO, has reported that over 775 million confirmed cases and more than 7 million deaths from COVID-19 have been reported globally since the pandemic began. As of July 21st, 2024, the number of new cases and deaths increased by 30% and 26% respectively compared to the previous 28-day period. The WHO reported over 186,000 new cases across 96 countries and more than 2,800 new fatalities across 35 countries during the same period. Additionally, more than 23,000 new hospitalizations and over 600 new ICU admissions were reported, with an overall increase of 11% and 3% in new hospitalizations and ICU admissions, respectively. The WHO also published its latest COVID-19 vaccination insights report, which shows that 9.8 million individuals received a dose of COVID-19 vaccine across 73 reporting countries, covering 22% of the global population. Among older adults, 4.9 million individuals received a dose, corresponding to an uptake rate of 0.42% so far in 2024. A potential breakdown of law and order was averted in Owerri, Imo State, thanks to the swift intervention of top government officials. The Commissioner of Police, CP Aboki Danjuma, joined forces with the Chief of Staff, Commissioner for Transport, Special Advisor on Security Affairs, and the Principal Chief Security Officer to the Governor to address a protest by members of the National Union of Haulage Drivers. The drivers had gathered along the Port Harcourt Road in Owerri, causing a potential breach of public peace. However, the prompt response from the government officials helped to calm the situation and prevent any escalation. Efforts are currently on the way to clear the traffic congestion caused by the protest. The situation is now under control and normalcy is being restored. The swift intervention of the government officials has helped to maintain peace and order in the area. Half-clad women in Oba-Oka, Akoko, Ondo State, have staged a peaceful protest against the incessant killings by suspected herdsmen in the area. The protest follows the brutal murder of a farmer, Sunday Ayeni, who was found dead on his farm with machete wounds and exposed intestines. This incident occurred just days after Ayeni received compensation for his farm, which was destroyed by cows allegedly belonging to herdsmen. The women who marched to the palace of the traditional ruler of Oka Akoko accused the herdsmen of raping women on their farmlands and destroying their crops. They stated that they have abandoned their farms due to fear of being attacked. The protesters called on security agencies to find a lasting solution to their problems and urged the government to take action. The Ondo State Police Command has commenced investigations into the killings, with the Public Relations Officer SP Fumilayo Odunlami Omisoya expressing hope that the perpetrators will soon be apprehended and brought to justice. In a city of over 20 million residents, maintaining law and order is a daunting task, but the Lagos State Police Command has been making strides in ensuring peace and security. From managing public protests to combating kidnappings, the police have shown remarkable dedication and effectiveness. Our correspondent, Esther Umelo, takes a closer look at the strategies behind their success.
The recent nationwide protest is one Nigerians will not forget in a hurry. Security agencies were able to maintain public order while respecting the rights to peaceful assembly. Public Relations Officer of the Lagos State Police Command, Benjamin Hundeyin, says being proactive ensured that citizens could voice their concerns without disrupting the daily activities of others.
Weeks before the protest, we embarked on engagements. We visited different localities, particularly the 3 senatorial districts in Lagos, where we met with stakeholders. We met with student union bodies, market leaders, road transport workers, you know, all categories of stakeholders. We met with them and had serious engagements with them. So it was quite easy when the protest started to get across to them, because we had already established communication channels. And when the protest started, we maintained that same energy to engage with people. So it helped a lot. And not crossing the line in terms of the protesters' rights, fundamental human rights, was largely due to the existence of a court order that restricted protesters to just 2 places. And we made them know that there was a court order. And largely they were law-abiding too, so everything went well.
On the front of combating kidnappings, the Lagos State Police Command has made significant strides. In recent operations, the police have been able to neutralize notorious gang of kidnappers and rescue high-risk individuals.
For the large-scale kidnapping, the billionaire kidnappers, many of them have been cut down. Community policing again. Nothing beats community policing. So we got information about them. We're also able to do our background investigation. So we had already gathered quite substantial information about them. We already knew the kind of vehicles they were using, the kind of guns they were using, and their modus operandi and all that. So to tackle kidnapping, we need the buy-in of the people. And for those that are kidnapped too, once they regain their freedom, they also cooperate by telling us all the things they saw. These are things that help us to track these people and get them arrested. So far in Lagos, we've been doing quite a good job of bringing kidnapping to a very low level. And that's largely due to the help of the people.
In all of this, the role of community in sharing information has been crucial, highlighting the importance of cooperation between the police and residents in ensuring safety. Esther Omelo, Rapid TV. The recent
The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, is calling for the establishment of a special court to try cases of crude oil theft. The Director of Investigation, Abdul Karim Shukol, made this known during a hearing at the House of Representatives Special Committee on Crude Oil Theft in Abuja. He stated that the commission has charged over 400 cases to court in 2019 and 200 others in 2022. Shukol believes that a special court and amendment of the legal framework of the agency would help EFCC in addressing crude oil theft. This recommendation is not new, as the Group Chief Executive Officer of the NNPC Limited, Mele Kyari, had earlier called for the creation of special courts to try offences related to crude oil theft and pipeline vandalism. Kyari emphasized the critical role of the judiciary in tackling crude oil theft and pipeline vandalism, which he said has severely undermined the gains of the Petroleum Industry Act, PIA 2021. He urged the judiciary to consider creating a special court or granting accelerated hearings to such cases with concomitant sanctions to deter would-be offenders. The management of Dangote Refinery has denied reports that it has fixed the price of petrol at 600 naira per litre. This follows claims by the Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria, IPMAN, that the refinery would sell petrol at 600 naira or 650 naira per litre when it begins operations. In a statement, Dangote Industries Limited clarified that IPMAN is not its business partner and has no authority to speak on its behalf. The company emphasized that it has never discussed petrol prices with IPMAN and urged the public to disregard speculative announcements. Dangote Refinery assured stakeholders that it will communicate its views and decisions through official channels. The company's response comes as Nigerians eagerly await the commencement of operations at the refinery, which is expected to boost the country's fuel supply and reduce reliance on imports. You're still watching Rapid TV News tonight. Coming after the break, business, foreign news, and sports. Stay with us.
Hey Stars, get more value for your money with StarTimes Upgrade promo. Recharge 1 month on Nova, Basic, or Classic Bouquet and get upgraded to the next bouquet to enjoy exciting top shows like Hidden Truth,
even if something happens between you,
For the Crowd,
because I share this apartment,
Celebrity Cook-Off,
okay viewers,
Now by the time we use half of it, the food goes sweet well.
Brides of Passion, and more. If you're on Super Bouquet, recharge for 1 month and get an extra 5 days free. La Liga is back on StarTimes. Anticipate, get ready, it's big. This offer starts from June 13th to August 15th, 2024. Recharge now and enhance your viewing satisfaction with the StarTimes Upgrade promo. Terms and conditions apply. StarTimes, entertain your family.
rise and shine. Morning with Rapid Dawn, your essential morning companion only on Rapid TV.
Start your day with us. We bring you the latest news, engaging discussions, and a fresh perspective on issues that matter.
From weather updates to our wellness tip, interesting recipes, and our trendy conversations every Tuesday to the weirdest of talks on Wednesday, Rapid Dawn has got you covered. So grab a coffee and join us every weekday morning on Rapid Dawn. Let's greet the day together.
Rapid Dawn, weekday mornings at 7 a.m. only on Rapid TV. Join us and wake to the dawn of a new day. See you in the morning.
My name is Akio Sakyodo.
Hey guys, this is Anto Lecky.
My name is Theo Bliss. My name is Akava. Go by the name Baba D. And you're tuned into Rapid TV. And I love Rapid TV.
Shout out
Rapid TV.
Thank you, Rapid TV. Please keep watching
Rapid TV. This is Rapid TV. Rapid TV. Keep watching. Keep it from down. Leave it like that.
Thanks for being there. Now the rest of the news. The Nigeria Customs Service has revealed that the federal government's suspension of import duties on food commodities will result in a revenue loss of 108.37 billion naira. Comptroller General Bashir Adeniyi disclosed this at a recent event in Abuja, stating that the 6-month tariff suspension is a significant sacrifice in terms of potential revenue. The suspension, which aims to reduce inflation, affects food staples like maize, husked brown rice, wheat, and cowpeas. Adeniyi noted that despite the revenue loss, the government is prioritizing food security over short-term revenue goals. He also highlighted the need for the Nigeria Customs Service to adapt its systems to efficiently implement the tariff suspensions and prevent abuse of the policy. The Comptroller General further emphasized the importance of enhancing inspection and verification processes to prevent misclassification or misdeclaration of goods. He assured that the Nigeria Customs Service will ensure seamless clearance of listed foods and create special corridors to expedite their clearance. Additionally, Adeniyi mentioned that the adoption of compressed natural gas (CNG) initiative by President Bola Tinubu could reduce food transportation costs by approximately 60%, indirectly benefiting food security. Gordon Amunde is up next with more business reports.
Hello, welcome to Business News Update. The federal government has taken delivery of 70 hybrid jet mover buses from Jet Motor Company in a bid to enhance the country's transportation sector. The Nigerian automobile manufacturer made this disclosure in a statement to newsmen recently. The buses, which operate on compressed natural gas and premium motor spirit, are expected to provide affordable and comfortable transportation for Nigerians. The handover ceremony held at Jet Motor Company's plant in Ajah, Lagos State, was attended by officials from the Ministry of Finance and representatives of the Presidential Initiative for Compressed Natural Gas. The technical assistant to the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Finance, Dimas Hamidu, acknowledged the good quality of the vehicles and commended the company for its good work. He said the hybrid vehicles were a testimony to the commitment of President Bola Tinubu's administration to alleviate the hardships that may have been brought on by the removal of fuel subsidies. According to Hamidu, the vehicles will go to a long way in helping to solve the transportation needs of the citizens and help to cushion the impact of rising costs on the economy. The federal government may forfeit 188.37 billion naira worth of revenue due to the duty waiver granted for staple food importation in 6 months. The Nigerian Customs Service announced on Tuesday. It also announced that the country spent 82 trillion naira on the importation of wheat, beans, rice, and maize between 2020 and 2023. The Comptroller General of Customs, Adewale Adeniyi, stated this at a press briefing in Abuja while speaking on the theme facilitating food trade through efficient customs process best practices. In a speech made available to newsmen by the National Public Relations Officer of the service, Abdullahi Melwada, the customs boss said that the forfeiture represents the government's commitment to prioritizing food security over short-term revenue goals. On July 8, 2024, the federal government announced a 150-day duty-free import window for food commodities to ensure a reduction in food inflation in Nigeria. The food commodities include maize, husked brown rice, wheat, and cowpeas. The government also collaborated with states to expand land cultivation across the country. Consequently, government suspended duties, tariffs, and taxes for the importation of certain food commodities through land and sea borders. Giving updates on the directive, Adeniyi explains that the government's initiatives, while crucial for addressing the nation's food security challenges, have significant implications for customs service. And of course, to wrap it up on business tonight, Kenya's President William Ruto has signed into law a controversial bill paving the way for the government to continue collecting a housing levy of 1.5% of a worker's monthly pay. The levy is intended to pay for the construction of affordable housing for poorer Kenyans, but it sparked an outcry from the opposition and a large section of the population who feel burdened by a raft of new taxes. The law that had been held up in the court, a judge had stopped the deduction, citing lack of a legal framework. However, MPs amended and approved the bill last week despite objections from opposition legislators. The levy, which had been mentioned in Mr. Ruto's manifesto for the 2024 election, was part of a finance law adopted last June that also doubled the sales tax on fuel. A new higher health insurance levy is also due to come into effect soon. The government has argued that it needs to increase its revenue from taxation in order to reduce the budget deficit and pay for public services. And that's it on Business News Update. My name is Godwin Amundi. Rapid Television News continues. Good evening.
On the foreign scene, the Rwandan government has shut down over 5,600 churches in July 2024 after an inspection found that nearly a third of the country's religious institutions failed to meet legal standards. The Rwanda Governance Board, in collaboration with local authorities, inspected 13,000 religious institutions and found that many lacked the necessary permits to operate. According to the RGB Chief Executive, Dr. Utsa Kaitesi, many of the affected churches had minor infractions that could be rectified and their permits reinstated. However, a significant number of churches, mostly Pentecostal, were closed for operating illegally. The government has been implementing a law passed in 2018 to regulate religious organizations, requiring leaders to have theological training and ensuring physical safety and soundproofing of buildings. The inspection aimed to verify that religious organizations have registration documents and letters of collaboration with district authorities. The government has assured that it will continue to work with religious leaders to promote development while adhering to laws and regulations governing faith-based organizations. The crackdown is part of Rwanda's efforts to regulate religious institutions and ensure they meet legal standards. Arthur Brooks is on standby with more news from the foreign scene.
To the international news. Here are today's news stories. First, the African Union, the AU's health authority, Tuesday declared a public health emergency over an outbreak of Mpox, whose spread has been on the rise since July. In an online briefing on Tuesday, the head of the Africa Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, Jean Cassier, called for aggressive efforts to tackle the outbreak. According to CDC data, as of August 4th, there had been 38,465 cases of Mpox and 1,450 deaths in Africa since January 2022. The outbreak has swept through several African countries, particularly the Democratic Republic of Congo, nearly all East and Central African countries have now confirmed cases, and pox is transmitted through close contact. It causes rashes, flu-like symptoms, and pus-filled wounds. Although most cases are mild, there have been confirmed fatalities. The World Health Organization said Tuesday that its own emergency committee will sit Wednesday to discuss whether a public health emergency of international concern should be declared. Now Senegal, Tuesday, where commuters hoping to browse the news on their way to work were disappointed. Most national newspapers refused to publish in protest against shrinking media freedom under the new government. The Council of Press Distributors and Publishers said media is experiencing one of the darkest days of its history, accusing the government led by former opposition politicians of freezing bank accounts of media companies and seizing equipment over alleged non-payments of taxes. President Bassirou Faye came to power in March after defeating the ruling coalition's candidates in elections. As part of Tuesday's media blackout, newspapers were displayed on newsstands with no content inside. The edition solely consisted of a black cover reading in French, "A Day Without Press," and an image of a raised fist gripping a pencil. Two popular radio stations opted to play music instead of airing news. Prime Minister Ousmane Sonko was criticized by media professionals in June for warning that the government would no longer tolerate falsehood by journalists. Mr. Sonko used to be the public face of the opposition and barred from running for the presidency. Both were imprisoned under the former government and pledged to tackle corruption and strengthen democracy. Rights groups recently urged Faye to take action to promote press freedom after years of arrests and attacks on journalists. Media closures under President Macky Sall. And finally we go to Israel, where a far-right Israeli minister led hundreds of Jewish Israelis into Jerusalem's most contested holy site, with many defying the Israeli government's long-standing ban on Jewish prayer there. The visit by National Security Minister Itamar Ben-Gvir to the Al-Aqsa Mosque compound, known to Jews as Temple Mount, has been condemned as provocative by Palestinian leaders, as well as the US, France, the UN, and several Arab states. Mr. Ben-Gvir said in a video that our policy is to enable Jewish prayer. But the Israeli Prime Minister's office insisted there had been no change to the status quo agreement that allows only Muslim worshippers there. The site is the holiest place for Jews because it's the site of two biblical temples, and it is a holy place for Muslims who believe it was where the Prophet Muhammad ascended to heaven. Situated in occupied East Jerusalem, it was captured by Israel from Jordan in the 1967 Middle East War, but Jordan was allowed to continue its historical role as custodian of the site, while Israel assumed control of security and access. And thanks for watching. Do have a great evening. I am Arthur James Brooks.
Up next is our entertainment segment.
Hello and welcome to Entertainment. We begin with popular politician Peter Obi pays a visit to the Warren brothers Peter and Paul Okoye, collectively known as P-Square, amid their ongoing beef. It is no longer news that the musical duo have been dragging each other for some time now, barely some years after they buried their former beef. Paul Okoye, also known as Rude Boy, in a recent interview had accused his brother of using EFCC to arrest him and claimed that most of the songs they sang were written by him. Consequently, his brother Peter had claimed that it isn't entirely true, as he had written some as well. He also counter-accused his brother of always belittling him. The former presidential candidate Peter Obi visited the brother to have a sit-down talk with them. Photos and videos shows the statement at the residence of one of the twins after their meeting. Finally, D'banj has announced August 16th as the release date for Entertainer 2.0. The band's upcoming fifth album, Entertainer, the sequel, is a follow-up to his classic 2008 album that holds some of the classic songs that rocketed him to superstatus. The band made the announcement in a clip that features actor Gideon Okeke and long-term associate and Mohit co-founder Don Jazzy, who made a cameo. For his upcoming album, the band has recruited a selection of global stars for his album, including Grammy Award winner Wyclef Jean, Congolese icon Awilo Lokumba, Senegalese music icon Youssouf Dinois, and American superstar Akon, South African mega DJ Movarisa, and NBC's The Voice sensation Chechi Sare. The new album, a follow-up to his 2008 magnum opus, The Entertainer, includes collaborations with Nigerian music stars Fino, Timaya, K-Switch, Zlatan, Peruzzi, Bad Boy OML, and Chuchuli. That's the entertainment. The news continues.
And now sports news. Rangers International will face Comoros US Silimaju in a CAF Champions League preliminary round doubleheader at the Godswill Akpabio Stadium in Uyo. The Comoros champions have adopted Uyo as their home ground due to their stadium in Moroni being deemed unfit by the Confederation of African Football CAF. Rangers handler Fidelis Ilechukwu sees this as an advantage, reducing stress and allowing his team to settle quickly. Despite not playing the return leg in their natural home, Enugu's Nnamdi Azikiwe Stadium, Ilechukwu is confident that his team can play anywhere and get results. He emphasized that the team has prepared well and is working tirelessly to rebuild after losing key players. Ilechukwu expressed his excitement for the games, stating that the team has made progress in the past 2 weeks and is getting better. He acknowledged the challenge of rebuilding quickly, but is focused on getting it right this time around. With the doubleheader in Uyo, Rangers aim to secure a spot in the next round of the CAF Champions League. The Nigeria Football Federation, NFF, has defended its preparation of the Super Falcons for the Paris Olympics, blaming the sports ministry for the team's poor outing. The Super Falcons crashed out of the tournament at the group stage, losing all 3 matches. The NFF claims it made efforts to secure funding for the team's preparation, but was unsuccessful. A member of the NFF board, who wished to remain anonymous, stated that the federation had to source funds to enable the team to camp and prepare for the games. The NFF claims that the sports ministry failed to release funds for the team's preparation, despite promises and confirmation of federal government funding. The NFF has received a refund for the funds it used to camp the team, but is still waiting for the cash backing from the ministry. The federation believes it would be unfair to blame them for the team's performance, as the federal government, through the sports ministry, is responsible for preparing the team once they qualify for a tournament. In a related development, sports enthusiasts in Nigeria are demanding a forensic probe into the country's poor performance at the Paris 2024 Olympic Games. Team Nigeria returned home without a single medal, marking the 8th time in the country's Olympic history. Stakeholders are calling for a thorough investigation into the team's preparation and performance. Donatus Agu Ejidike, Nigeria's pillar of sports, blamed administrative ineptitude for the team's poor showing. He cited the omission of medal prospect Favour Ofili from the women's 100 meters event and the failure of sports officials to raise an alarm. Agu Ejidike also lamented the culture of populating the Nigerian contingent with cronies and relatives rather than competent individuals. Sports entrepreneur Ahmed Garagombe called for President Bola Tinubu to sack the sports minister, while Godwin Bamiwoye attributed the poor performance to poorly funded and managed sports federations. Isaiah Benjamin, president of the Sports Writers Association of Nigeria, described the performance as far below expectations and attributed it to administrative incompetence and negligence. Stakeholders are urging for reforms and sanctions to prevent further failures. And that concludes details of the news tonight. Before we go, here is a recap of the major stories. Kano Senator sparks outrage with revelation of 21 million naira monthly salary. ICPC exposes thousands of suspicious workers on government payroll. Federal government faces huge revenue loss from food import tax suspension. Rwandan government shuts down thousands of churches and crack down. Plus, Rangers Football Club gears up for crucial CAF Champions League match. And that's the size of our package tonight. My name is Ugochukwu Madumere. Thank you so much for watching, and stay tuned for more interesting content on Rapid Television tonight. Good evening.
Hello and welcome to your rapid weather forecast for Thursday, 15th August 2024. I am Barnabas Sandra. Getting halfway through August, we will see a slight decrease in rainfall during the week over the country, but increasing rainfall and cloudy conditions over the weekend, particularly in the southern parts and coastal areas. Daytime temperatures are warming slightly during the week, but nighttime temperatures will be cooler. In the northern states, mostly cloudy with occasional rainstorms and a few thunderstorms, with increasing rainfall over the weekend and the beginning next week. Down in the south part of the country, particularly in the coastal areas, the weekend will be mostly cloudy and sporadic rainfalls building up over the weekend and into the next weeks. So, let us look at our city's forecasts. Starting with Sokoto, the seat of the Caliphate. Starting the day with isolated thunderstorms around the state in the morning, and then the rest of the day otherwise cloudy. Temperatures will rise to 28 degrees Celsius and drop down to 23 degrees Celsius at night. Secondly, Kano, the center of commerce. The day will start sunny, then turning cloudy with a couple of thunderstorms, especially later in the day and overnight. Temperatures rising to 30 degrees Celsius and dropping down at midday to 22 degrees Celsius later at night. Kaduna, the center of learning. Some sunny periods starting the day, later in the afternoon turning cloudy with isolated thunderstorms in one or two areas. Temperatures will be rising from 28 degrees Celsius and dropping down to 21 degrees Celsius at night. While in the northeast, Maiduguri, the home of peace. The day will start with periods of light rain with the possibility of a thunderstorm later in the day. Temperature will be rising from 29 degrees Celsius and dropping down to 23 degrees Celsius at night. Moving to the north central, Abuja, the center of unity. Temperatures will rise from 26 degrees Celsius at midday and drop down to 20 degrees Celsius at night. Now to the southeast, Umuahia, in God's own state. The day will start mostly cloudy with a couple of rain showers later in the day. Temperature will rise from 30 degrees Celsius and drop down to 22 degrees Celsius at night. Also in the south-south, Port Harcourt, treasure base of the nation. Mostly cloudy, a shower in spots in the morning, followed by occasional rains and drizzles in the afternoon. Temperatures will be rising from 27 degrees Celsius and dropping down to 21 degrees Celsius later at night. Lastly, in the southwest, Lagos, the center of excellence. The weather will be a little warmer, partly dry and sunny for most of the day, but cloud cover later is expected. Temperature will be rising from 28 degrees Celsius and dropping down to 25 degrees Celsius later at night. Across Nigeria, the largely cloudy weather pattern will continue, but expect some sunny periods. Over the weekend and next week, expect more heavy rains becoming more prevalent. Stay safe, keep dry, and carry an umbrella or raincoat. Watch out for the sporadic rainstorms before you go out. That's all for today from the Rapid Weather team with your daily forecasts, especially for you for Thursday, 15th August 2024. Thanks for watching. Have a great day ahead. I am Barnabas Sandra.
My name is Akio Sakido.
Hey guys, this is Ansel Lecky.
My name is Theo Bliss. My name is Akava. Go by the name Baba D. And you're tuned into Rapid TV. And I love Rapid TV.
Shout out Rapid TV. Thank you, Rapid TV. Please keep watching
Rapid TV. This is Rapid TV. Rapid TV. Keep watching. Keep it from down. Leave it like that. Carigo.
The biggest, the finest, the only Rapid TV.
Rapid TV.
Yes, keep watching.
Don't go nowhere. Don't touch that dial.
Keep watching Rapid TV.
This is me giving a rapid response to Rapid TV.